problems of the wastewater treatment in Moldavia and the WasteNet project.
Thank you. I'm going to give you a short, brief information about the situation with the general problems of water, water consumption, water treatment, and perspectives of the WasteNet project in my country, in the Republic of Moldova. Here in this presentation, I will repeat some things which I have mentioned this morning in another presentation. So those who have had it already, please excuse me, but it will be very short. The water resources of the Republic of Moldova include two main rivers, Nistru and Prut, which are the main sources of potable and technical water for our population, and there are also natural and artificial lakes, ponds, and about more than 3,000 small rivers. The most part of them are very short, are extremely polluted, and are dry in the summer period. If we talk about the access to the water resources, the main part of the water used in our country comes from the Nistru River. Only 1% is taken from the Prut River, and for the central part of the country, the industries and population use water from the underground sources. The main part of the water is consumed by the agriculture, as can be seen, and it comes for the households, and the part of it is used by the industries. The management of water resources in Moldova is generally linked with specific problems. They include the limited access to water resources of the population generally, limited access to potable water and sanitation services, the transitional legislation, and inefficient application of some stipulations of our water-related laws, insufficient water treatment quality, insufficient evaluation and management of risks. The quality of surface water is can be considered as the moderate, and according to the hydrochemical indicators, the water in the main rivers corresponds to the second or third grade. Or this means that it is clean and moderately polluted. And as regards to the small rivers, as I have mentioned, they are heavily polluted. The quality of the groundwater generally can be characterized as poor, because the most part, about 90% of the wells are polluted with nitrogen compounds, because we have lots of small farms in the villages, and the cattle lives very close to the wells. That's why they contain extremely high amounts of these components. Also, the wells contain high concentrations of sodium, ammonium, strontium, hydrogen sulfide, but because of the natural causes. And of course, this situation is connected with the state of the health of the people who live in the rural communities. The transboundary impact, the main rivers of Moldova are exposed to this impact, Nistru River and the Danube. And it has an impact both on the national and regional level, and we need to mention here that our government have concluded bilateral agreements with Romania and Ukraine concerning the information exchange on water quality in these main rivers, which are inflow to the Black Sea. If we talk about the water consumption in Moldova, generally the theoretical potential of water resources in Moldova and its usage per capita compared to Europe is shown on this slide, and Moldova is not using the available potential of water resources. This is due to the number of causes, mostly related to the insufficient or poor water management. In 1910, access to drinking water from the improved sources, especially in the for rural population, has increased compared to the 1950s. But we can see that the percent of the rural population compared to the which have the access to the safe water is much below compared to the urban population. As to the government involvement, for the first time in Moldova, environmental protection in the late years has become a priority and the separate objective, stating the importance of strengthening the public authorities' capacity to deal with the environmental issues. The new water law has been adopted in Moldova in 2011, and this law is based upon the Water Framework Directive of the European Union. It establishes the general framework for implementation of other main specific European documents, including the Directive of the Quality of Water, Directive on Environmental Quality, standards in the field of water quality, and so on. It's the very fresh and very the most important normative document for the Republic of Moldova in this area. As an example of the actions stated above regarding the improvement of the access to the safe water for the population in our country, this map shows the expansion of centralized water and sewage system, which will result in the improvement of people's access to these services. And these issues are closely connected to the goals and scopes of the WasteNet project, which is intended to attract the attention of the authorities and population to the wastewater treatment plants. The main sources of pollution of surface and groundwaters are discharges of untreated waters from municipal systems, inadequate management of solid wastes in our localities, chaotic accumulation of livestock manure, deposits of pesticides, and other causes. Generally, in the beginning of 1990s, we have more than 600 operating water treatment systems throughout the country, not only in the capital city Chisinau, but in the small localities as well. But now the situation has been worsened significantly. We have no more than 150 treatment plants in the country, and out of them, maybe up to 10, no more than 20% are operating permanently. So, the wastewater treatment levels applied in Moldova include the primary treatment, including screens, sedimentation, and grit removal, and secondary treatment, which removes nutrients and other impurities dissolved in water. The tertiary treatment, as a rule, only consists in the disinfection of treated water, most often with the chlorine or less often with the sodium chloride or calcium chloride. but in the small towns or small regional centers, water flows directly to the biological ponds and before being discharged into the natural water bodies. If we talk about the natural wastewater treatment systems operating in our country, we should mention here the biological ponds with artificial aeration. Currently, they exist, but no more than one or two. Biological ponds with natural aeration, constructed wetlands, and other types of natural treatment systems, including the filtration fields, septic tanks, anaerobic accumulation ponds. In some localities, what is important, they operate as a single treatment step. No other treatments are applied. Natural treatment systems, namely the constructed wetlands, is an important kind of the system which can be applied, has a good potential to be applied in our country. And a series of the constructed wetlands have been designed and constructed during the last maybe 7 or 5 years, mostly by the with the involvement of foreign specialists and with the foreign funds. Here the funding agencies are shown here on this slide. And what is interesting that currently there are no officially approved design norms for the constructed wetlands, and our specialists from Moldova, they recommend the construction of the natural treatment systems in the small localities with no more than 300-500 inhabitants. And the specific problem for our country is that although in the last years, in many, not in many, but in the part of the regional centers and small communities, new water supply systems have been constructed or renovated, but at the same time, the funds were insufficient to construct or to put in the operation the sewerage system, and construction of the and functioning of the constructed wetlands depends on the centralized sewerage systems. So this is a picture of one of the newly constructed wetland in Moldova by Apasan company from Switzerland. And I should mention here that one of the best examples, case study, is a small village of Ruska, which involves the septic treatment plant, which involves a septic tank, and the second stage involves 4 horizontal beds filled with gravel. And as I had a discussion about the operation of the other new constructed wetlands in Moldova, and our specialists, for example, from the Institute of Ecology and Geography of the Academy of Sciences, who approved this construction, they have official right to approve, to give the approval. They say that maybe this is the best example of the best functioning of all the other systems, because there is this locality has a hot water supply throughout the year, and the permanent and the amounts of incoming water for treatment are all the same in the different season. And there are the other reasons as well. So the WasteNet project is intended to promote the implementation of natural treatment systems, and namely the constructed wetlands technology in the Black Sea region. Specific objectives of this project involves the promotion and adaptation of these technologies, their dissemination of these technologies among the engineers, planners, and so on, and development of the specific guidelines and other materials adapted to the local conditions. So for Moldova, We suppose, and our experts suppose as well, that the country really has need to implement at a broader scale the safe, cheap and ecologically friendly systems for the treatment of its wastewater. Because the environment, the water supply, water treatment, the quality of waters in the country is one of the main strategic priorities approved by our government. If we see the water and sewerage strategy in our country from 2012, we can find these issues there. And of course, the broader practical implementation should be based on the existing experience of the operation of already existing systems. So thank you.